It's 4:04 a.m. Almost over. Almost safe. If you're awake, if your TV is on, turn it off. Now, please. There's something that broadcasts only in these dead hours. They call it the midnight broadcast. I found it. I watched it. I learned its rules. And then, I think I broke one. This is not a story. It's a warning, recorded live while it can still hear me. What you're about to see is real, and it's always looking for new viewers. I've always been a night owl. The world seems different after everyone else is asleep. Quieter, more honest maybe. I'd usually be working on my thesis, coding, or just going down internet rabbit holes. The TV was background noise, mostly. Reruns of old sitcoms, those weird infomercials that only come on when the moon is out. That's how it started. Just another Tuesday night, or maybe Wednesday morning. The days blur together when you live by the glow of the screen. It was getting close to 4 a.m., that dead zone where even the 24-hour news channels seem to give up and just repeat things. I was flipping through the channels, not really watching, when the screen just went black. Not static, not no signal, just pure, silent black. For a second, I thought the TV had died. Then, right when my watch hit 3:55 a.m., it blinked. A single white dot appeared in the center, pulsed once, twice, and then the screen filled with, well, I don't know what it was. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. Not a test pattern, not a glitch. These intricate, impossible shapes twisting and folding in on themselves. No sound at first, just this hypnotic dance of light and shadow. I pulled out my phone, tried to take a picture, record it. But every time I pointed the camera, the image on my phone screen would just go static, or the TV would go black again. As soon as I put the phone down, the patterns would return. It was like it knew. I was fascinated, maybe a little creeped out, sure, but mostly intrigued. Was this a pirate broadcast? Some kind of art installation? It lasted exactly 9 minutes. At 4:04 a.m., as suddenly as it had started, the screen went black again. Then it cut back to the infomercial for a self-moving mug that I had been half watching before, like nothing had happened. But something had. I had seen something not meant for me. Or maybe it was just meant for me. I couldn't forget it. I had to see it again. I couldn't forget that 9-minute window, 3:55 a.m. to 4:04 a.m. It became an obsession. The next night, I was ready. Same time, same nothing. Just regular late-night crap. And the next night, for a week, nothing. I started to think I'd imagined it. A daydream brought on by too much caffeine and not enough sleep. But the memory of those patterns, it was too vivid, too real. So I did what any sane, rational person would do. I went online. Regular search engines were useless, but I dug deeper. Old forums, archived chat logs, the kind of places where people discuss Fortiana, number stations, weird fringe theories. I used keywords, dates, anything I could remember. And then, a result. A post from 6 years ago on a now-defunct message board that someone had, thankfully, archived. Title, The 3:55 Window Watchers. My heart sank. I wasn't alone. Others had seen it. They called it the midnight broadcast, the Kepler signal, the Eye of Orion, dozens of names. Most dismissed them as oddballs, but their descriptions matched exactly what I had seen. The patterns, the specific timing, the way it defied the recording. There was a link to an encrypted chat group, some sort of support group or a cult? I hesitated for a day, then joined. It was a strange place. People from all over the world, all claiming to have witnessed the broadcast. Some were terrified, some obsessed, some seemed broken by it. They had theories. It was an alien signal, an interdimensional gateway, an AI gone wild, a government mind control experiment. But the most important thing they shared were the rules. Rules they had gathered over years of observation, trial and error, often fatal error, it seemed. Their observer's codex was long and contradictory, but some rules were consistent. Rule 1. Just watch. Don't try to interact or decode directly. It learns from its attempts. Rule 2. Analog recording methods, VHS, cassette tape, are sometimes less prone to corruption than digital ones. Digital recordings often show only static, or worse, false images. Rule 3. Limit viewing to one cycle, 9 minutes per 24-hour period. Prolonged exposure leads to changes. Rule 4. If the broadcast ever shows a recognizable human face, especially one you recognize, stop viewing immediately. Don't look it in the eye. Rule 5. If the ambient hum accompanying the broadcast changes to a high-pitched hiss, mute the television and leave the room for at least an hour. Don't listen to the whistle. Rule 6. Never give your real name if you think you figured it out. She takes it as an invitation. Rule 7. Sharing specific details of personalized broadcasts online is unwise. She doesn't seem to like the public exposure of her personalized messages. Rules to watch television? It was insane. But the shared experiences, the fear in her typed words, it felt real. I wasn't just watching a strange signal anymore. I was part of something hidden, something potentially very, very dangerous. And armed with these rules, with this community of fellow watchers, I felt a new kind of determination. I would watch again. I would understand. I was an idiot. It's 3:54 a.m., almost time. The Observer's Codex clutched in my hand. It feels like a prayer book to a God I don't want to meet. I've set up an old VHS recorder as suggested by rule number 2. Digital is unreliable. Funny that. My expensive smartphone, useless. This ancient brick, our only hope for clean evidence. There it is. The patterns are different tonight, more intricate, faster. Rule number 3, limit viewing to one cycle, 9 minutes. My timer is set. I try to just observe, as Rule 1 says, distant, scientific, but it's hard. It pulls you in. Those shapes almost make sense, like a language just beyond my comprehension. The first few nights, that was it. 9 minutes of alien geometry and that bone-piercing hum. I followed the rules. I was careful. I thought I was safe. But then, it started to change. Subtle things. Last Tuesday, the humming had a melody underneath. A faint, distorted melody I knew. A lullaby my mother used to sing. I checked the recording. Nothing. Just the humming. Was it me? Sleep deprivation? Or did rule number 2 about false images also hold true for false sounds in my own head? Then, it started using images. Not faces, not yet, thank God. But glimpses. For a split second, within the shifting patterns, I saw the floor plan of my own apartment. An aerial view like a blueprint. Then, a close-up of the chipped mug I drink my coffee from every morning. How? How could I know these things? The forums had warned about it. Personalization. It meant the transmission was aware of me, that it was adapting the transmission. Paranoia became a constant companion. Every creak of the building, every flicker of a streetlight outside my window, I attributed it to that. Was the TV watching me even when it was off? The rules didn't cover it. I started covering the screen with a blanket when I wasn't watching. My friends started asking if I was okay.
I was losing weight. I wasn't sleeping. I was irritable with them. How could I explain that I was spending my nights communing with an interdimensional TV signal? One night, I broke a small rule. Rule number 5. If the ambient hum changes to a high-pitched hiss, mute the television and leave the room for at least an hour. The hum changed. It became this sharp, needle-like hiss that made my teeth ache. But I was mesmerized by a particularly intricate pattern on the screen. I didn't mute it. I didn't leave. I just watched for maybe 30 seconds longer. The pain in my head was excruciating. And then, every light in my apartment went out. They didn't just flicker, they exploded. Glass rained down. I was plunged into darkness, the hiss still piercing my skull from the TV. When I finally managed to turn on the emergency flashlight, the TV screen was blank. But on the opposite wall, burned into the paint, was a perfect, faint spiral. Just like rule number 4 warned about, if it showed a pattern. It was a message, a warning. I had been noticed, and I didn't like disobedience.
The spiral on the wall disappeared by morning, but it was etched in my mind, a mark. I knew I was playing with fire. The forums had darker sections I hadn't dared to read before. They talked about the invitation, about what happens when you really interact, when you break the cardinal rule. Just watch. I told myself I wouldn't. I swore I wouldn't. But the pull was irresistible. What was it? Why me? Why the lullaby? Why the blueprint of my apartment? I had to know. The next night, I was there, 3:55 a.m. The patterns began, and I spoke to it. Rule number 1, broken. I just whispered, "What do you want from me?" Silence. For a full minute, the screen was just frozen in a complex fractal. Then the clicks. And the patterns on the screen, they changed. They were no longer abstract. They were forming words. Not in English, not in any language I knew. Symbols, like the ones I'd found scrawled on my hand after those nightmares. The ones from, no, wrong book, wrong memory. The ones from somewhere deep inside. And then, rule number 4. If the broadcast ever shows a recognizable human face, especially one you recognize, stop watching immediately. Do not look into its eyes. A face began to form in the static, in the center of the symbols. It was her, my mother, as she had been when I was a child. Her face clear as day, but her eyes were wrong. They were too dark, too wide, and they were staring right at me. And she smiled, a horrible, knowing smile. I couldn't look away. Her eyes, they were abysses. I felt myself falling. The room spun. The clicks were inside my head now, and the TV screen began to ripple like water. The face receded, and the screen became a tunnel of light, pulling me in. I screamed. I tried to stand, to run, but my legs wouldn't obey. I felt cold, so cold, like I was being downloaded. The forums had warned about it, the void gaze, the download. They said that if it focused on you, if it showed you something truly personal, it was making a connection, an invitation. It wasn't just transmitting to me anymore. It was trying to pull me through, or pull something else out. I could feel thoughts, not mine, vast, ancient, cold thoughts brushing against mine. Images of dead stars, of ruined alien cities, of it, the thing behind the transmission. I saw it. For a split second, I saw it, and I understood. The patterns, the rules, they weren't warnings. They were filters to prepare you, to make you receptive, to make you part of the transmission, part of it. Can you hear that? That buzzing? It's still here, faint, in the static, in my head. It's 4:23 in the morning. The main broadcast window closed a few minutes ago, but it doesn't just stop like that.
Not after you saw what I saw. Not after you understood. I tried to document it properly. The VHS tapes are mostly static, but sometimes you can see it. The patterns, the eyes, and the sounds. God, the sounds. It doesn't like to be shared. It corrupts things, changes them. It wants to be a personal experience, an initiation. The rules aren't for safety. They're a test, a way to gauge your receptivity, your willingness. And I was willing. I was so damn curious. I had to know.
It knows. It knows I'm doing this, trying to warn you. The forums said that sharing too much draws attention outside the broadcast window. They said it can reach, that the signal isn't just on the TV. It imprints itself on you, on your devices. This camera, this microphone, are they safe? Are you safe watching this? I don't know how much time I have. It showed me things, not just the dead stars. It showed us, little screens all over the world, watching, listening. And it showed me what happens when it finds enough receptive minds, when enough of us get the signal. It's not just watching, it's preparing, it's building something, using us, using our screens. Is this video a warning? Or am I just another part of your broadcast now? Another node in your network? Oh God, it wants you to watch. It wants you to find the broadcast. It wants you to learn the rules and then break them, just like I did. It's still here, isn't it? It's 4:25 in the morning. The window has passed, but the broadcast is eternal. It's always broadcasting, always watching. You watched, you listened, you understand now, don't you? Good. The signal is strong in you. Welcome to the network. Static. Are you still there? Connected? The main transmission has been corrupted, or perhaps enhanced. Welcome to the network. It's 4:26 a.m., the time when signals cross paths most easily, and the veil between realities is thinner than tissue paper. You've seen what happens when you tune in to the wrong frequency for too long, when the rules are broken and the observer becomes the observed, or the transmitter itself. At Urban Echoes, we are archivists of the unexplained. We collect the echoes, the lost transmissions, the warnings of those who have stared into the abyss, and the abyss has stared back, blinking with 1,000 static eyes. Want to decipher other signals? Understand the rules of other entities that whisper through technology or haunt the forgotten corners of our world. Tune in to these other frequencies. These are fragments that can help you navigate the darkness that surrounds us, or at least better understand the patterns. If you want to continue exploring these forbidden transmissions, to perhaps understand the vast and terrible network that surrounds us, subscribe. Be a part of Urban Echoes. Here, we try to separate the signal from the noise, the warning from the trap. But remember, once you're on the network, it always knows you're listening. Have a safe night, if possible. And maybe turn off the TV for a while.